and passionate, and we just appreciate every day. Now that I'm working at college and teaching, I love teaching students, and I love feeling that same passion and dedication from those students. I love nurturing, kind of teaching, and walking kind of beside the students as they grow over, for me, the 3 years that they're in college with me, and help them into a successful career in the fashion industry. In my years, my 22 years of graduating, I've been really successful in traveling, which I'm sure, again, how many of you would be interested in traveling abroad? So I've been to New York several times. My first job, I was 22, probably 2 months into my first job, I was in New York, flying to New York on my own on a buying trip for fabric. I mean, how exciting, totally exciting is that? I was scared stiff, I was shaking on the plane, shaking off the plane, shaking in every room that I went in to look at fabrics, but it was amazing, and I've had many, many experiences like that. I've been to Paris, I've been to England, I've been to India, so I've been around, I've done a fair bit of traveling, so it is, you know, and it can be a really exciting opportunity. Oh, that's nice, my PowerPoint's done, there we go. So that's enough about me. Does anybody have any questions about my background? Gives you a little bit of insight. So fashion designer, that's basically what I'm talking about today. Certainly the fashion industry is more than just being a fashion designer. There's many areas, but I'm going to be strictly kind of concentrating on fashion design. So who can tell me in the audience what some of the skills are necessary to become a fashion designer? Just, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, elements and principles of design, figure drawing. Anything else? Measurements, yeah, imperial and metric. So I know most of you growing up with the metric system. Our industry is still quite imperial, so you need to learn that inch, foot, meter, meters and yards, all of that conversion. Any other skills? Absolutely, creativity. That's one of the skills that, I mean, we can help develop that as teachers and mentors, but we can't really give that to you, so that's what you sort of innately have to already have, is some creativity. What other skills are important, do you think? Yeah, definitely proportion. You know, have a good eye for proportion, also sense of color. What about actual skills, like as in, you know, we need to make the thing? Sewing, yeah. And so sewing is important. Certainly a skill that not a lot of students have, not a lot of high schools. So how many have fashion arts at your school right now? Just showing my hands. And do they all teach sewing? Just kind of get my hands that some of them do, some of them, I know some of them are more business oriented. So there's a ton of skills. So conducting research, knowing your customer, coming up with themes and inspirations to create collections. Overseeing the design process right from concept, from that very first thing that you put on paper, right through to production to the final end result of a garment. Communicating your ideas through illustrations, through technical drawings, through storyboards, presentation boards. Working in liaising with design assistants, pattern makers, artists. Developing ways for production to be able to streamline and make those garments go through production easily. You have to have a great knowledge of garment construction, so your sewing, costing, fabric, manufacturing processes, and often you're able to travel to global fashion markets. So this is just sort of a brief kind of list of things that a fashion designer may need to know or would be responsible for or does. So it's quite a list. So just to break it down a little bit, we have design skills. So design skills meaning that you're developing, researching, and executing innovative designs and with a specific customer in mind. So those are sort of skills. The second set of skills are your visual communication skills. So creating fashion illustrations, technical drawings. Does anybody know what technical drawings are in the audience? Yeah, what are they?
Almost like you're drawing a pattern. It's like you draw it on tracing paper, and it's just basically for if you, instead of sewing, if you send it off to a manufacturer, they can use that to be able to make a garment.
Right, yeah, right. So a fashion illustration has like a real flair to it, a sense of creativity. A technical drawing or a flat drawing is almost like a blueprint. So it's a black and white, usually line drawing, very technical, showing where the zipper, where the button, where everything is. And that's a way that we need to communicate with our manufacturers, and most of our manufacturers are not here at home, they're overseas. So it's a way to communicate the ideas so that they are produced properly. So those skills are both done manually. Usually that's the way we start with most colleges, is that you work manually so that you have the understanding, the foundation, and then all of them are transferred to computer. So using Adobe Creative Suite 4, using Illustrator and Photoshop to be able to do those same skills, but faster. Production skills is the next range of skills, so that includes drafting patterns, grading patterns, fit, sewing, all of that, sort of putting the garment together. And again, those skills are both done manually, and then they're done on a computer program. The one we use is called Gerber Garment Technology, PDS, Pattern Design System. There are a few different types of industry softwares. They're like AutoCAD. Yep.
This software, is it done straight through the school itself, or is it that you have to use price for you on the computer?
It's done through the school, and we have a lab that's dedicated to 24/7 access that you can use, because there's a plotter, there's a digitizer you're not able to have all of those peripheral equipment at home. So it's not software that you can have on your home computer. Yeah. So it's really important to be able to create patterns and grade patterns by computer. Okay, not many companies are working by hand anymore, but again, it's a foundation, a way for you to learn the foundation skills at an introductory level. And then of course business. Okay, business skills are really important. In fact, if you talk to a lot of designers, they're going to tell you this much of their day is design and this much of their day is business. Okay, you have to at the end of the day, you have to sell your garment, you have to market your garment. There's so much going on, cost it properly, and so those are really important skills as well. Some success, some keys to success. First and foremost, I think understand yourself. So when that's making a decision, college, university, which college or university, which city, town, or country. Set some goals for yourself. What's your fashion style? You really have to kind of identify yourself. I think a lot of young people do a pretty good job at that. You have a great way of self-expressing yourself on, through Facebook and things like that. But really do make sure that you're true and understand yourself so that you pick the right path. Research jobs. You really do have to do some research and educate yourself on what are the job opportunities and what are the realistic salary expectations. And you can only do that by actually looking at some of the jobs that the employment website that I put up. Take a look at that. And there's several others as well, but so that you really have to love fashion. It's not really going to be at first about making money. So let the passion be there first. If money is important to you, you might want to, I don't know, you'd have to kind of weigh that out. Again, know yourself. Education, make an informed decision when choosing your post-secondary education, what's right for you. Network. Even now, even you in grade 11 and 12, if you're thinking about getting into the fashion industry, your part-time job, especially if it's fashion related, if you're working in a mall, that may seem unrelated, but it really isn't. You can make some connections, and it's those connections that move you through the industry. Our fashion program at Fanshawe College, we had a woman graduate over 20 years ago. She started a business called Optional, and it's now an international business sold all around the world. So she's doing really well. So again, you can just go to the web and search for Optional, and you'll kind of see that and what they do. It's basically a catalog business, but she does a really great business. Kirsch is a line. Hasn't anybody heard of Kirsch? It's mostly knits, but it's kind of geared to your age category. So I have a graduate from 2005. She's out in Vancouver working for Kirsch, so she's a knitwear designer there, loves what she does. She had to take a few knocks the first couple of years. She had some jobs at, she was, an assistant to the assistant to the assistant, and was getting coffee and, doing a lot of menial jobs.